Miller Coors takes product quality very seriously. The proper rotation of our product allows our consumers to always purchase the most brewery fresh beer. Quality is the backbone of each distributor's business, and without quality, the success of our brands rapidly diminishes. The primary, secondary, and tertiary packaging of each brand and package is required to have a Universal Product Code, or UPC. This UPC code must be designed into the packaging to identify that product. The UPC code is also referred to as the Shelf Keeping Unit, or SKU. Thus, we can use the following three terms interchangeably: by brand and package, UPC, and SKU. The inventory of each SKU in an off-premise account may be found in any of the following cold and warm locations. Cold inventory in an off-premise account is usually found, but not limited to, these primary locations. Cold door cooler, usually found in convenience and liquor stores. Open shelf coolers, mostly found in grocery and liquor stores. Reach-in coolers, most commonly found in liquor stores. Iced coolers and/or bins, usually used to sell single units in convenience, grocery, and liquor stores. Walk-in coolers, generally the location of the account's cold backstock, and in many accounts now open to purchases by consumers. Warm inventory in an off-premise account is usually found, but not limited to, these primary locations. Warm backstock, the area that is usually not accessible to consumers. Warm shelf, usually found in drug or club stores. Warm displays, usually found in the off-premise trade channels such as club, convenience, drug, grocery, and liquor stores. Beer walls, usually found in large liquor stores and considered a display if properly merchandised and priced. Warm floor stacks, found mostly in convenience and liquor stores and considered a display if properly merchandised and priced. Warm on pallets, most commonly found in club and some liquor stores. Follow these rotation steps to make sure the rotation of each UPC in each of these cold and warm inventory locations in an account is properly rotated. Each SKU has been allocated a certain location and a defined amount of shelf space in the door, open cooler, or warm shelf. Pull the beer off the shelf so you can see the date on each package. Group the beer of the same SKU by the same code dates if multiple code dates are on the shelf. Make sure that the beer is in code. Put the beer back on the shelf, starting with the beer with the freshest code date to the back of the shelf, the next freshest code date in front of it, and so on, with the product with the oldest code date in front. Face up the bottles and cans to give each SKU a visual billboard effect. In door coolers, the consumer usually takes beer from the handle side of the shelf and not the hinge side. If you have more than one code date for a particular UPC, and you have the whole shelf with the same SKU, put the beer with the oldest date to the handle side of the shelf, and the next oldest product to the hinge side of the shelf. Now let's examine how to rotate beer in the remaining off-premise locations. Place the product with the most shelf life on the bottom and/or towards the back. Place the next oldest product in front of and/or on top of this product, and so on, with the oldest product being in front and/or on top of the other product. Beer in the ice bin should be limited in volume to the amount sold in one day. The location of the inventory of each SKU varies from account to account and from delivery to delivery, depending on the sales volume of that SKU and whether it is on display or promotion at the time of delivery. With many possible locations for each brand and package, it is important to establish an overall account rotation strategy to ensure that each SKU is properly rotated through the account. The following convention has been established to ensure the proper rotation of each SKU through an off-premise account. Beer sold from the cooler shelf, ice bins, and/or reach-ins is considered the primary point of purchase and should be stocked with the oldest beer that is in code. Rotate the product from warm inventory areas to cold inventory areas as follows. Beer depleted from the cooler shelves, ice bins, and reach-ins should be replenished with beer from the cold backstock area, then replenished with beer from the warm backstock area, And finally, replenish with the oldest product from the other warm beer inventory areas in the account. The convention we just discussed may seem incorrect in that if we put the freshest beer in the warm inventory areas that are accessible to the consumer, we'll be selling the freshest beer first. While this is true, consider the following. Research shows that displays dramatically increase the sales lift of our products because of the high visibility, easy availability, and impulse buy of the consumer. We want to capitalize on this in an account. This does, however, create a problem in that the beer in warm inventory is losing its brewery fresh flavor faster than beer in cold inventory. Thus, we are making a trade-off. We are exposing the beer to higher temperatures to get increased sales. Most off-premise retail accounts do not have enough cooler space to store their backup inventory cold. That's why the backup inventory must be stored warm. To accommodate the sale of beer from warm inventory, it is recommended that beer only remain out of refrigeration 14 days at room temperature of 72 degrees. This allows enough time for the beer to go on display to increase sales, yet it is not long enough for the product to get to the point where it is no longer considered brewery fresh. Within that period, it should be rotated into cold inventory. Beer delivered into warm inventory must be kept out of excessive heat and direct sunlight. Each distributor should have a route book or electronic system that tracks the warm beer in each account to ensure warm beer is not stored out of refrigeration for more than the recommended period of time. Always try to maximize the amount of beer in the cold inventory areas and try to minimize the amount of beer in warm inventory areas in order to reduce exposure to heat. So, putting the freshest beer in the warm areas seems contrary to proper rotation, but it limits the amount of time the beer is exposed to warm temperatures, limits the impact of room temperature on the quality of beer, and allows beer to be sold warm off the shelf to take advantage of increased sales volume from warm displays. Product being delivered should be placed in its appropriate inventory location on the account's inventory based on its code date. When beer is found to be out of code in the market, pull it from the shelf or out of the cooler. Where legal, place it apart from the fresh beer in the back room and mark it for pickup. Return the beer to the warehouse for destruction. If you find primary packaging that are not date-coded, try and find the partial secondary or tertiary case packaging that it came from to determine the date code. If the secondary packaging is not date-coded, attempt to find the partial tertiary case that it came from. If the product is determined to be in code, follow repackaging procedures and return product to the shelf in rotation. Any package found to be without a code date should be considered a manufacturing defect. Return the product to the warehouse for credit from the brewery and report non-dated product to the distributor quality hotline. If the primary, secondary, or tertiary unit's code date has the appearance of having been tampered with or altered, consider it as out-of-code beer. Code dates that appear to have been altered or tampered with are considered a serious matter and will be thoroughly investigated. If the primary point of purchase of the beer, usually in the cooler, reach-in, or ice bin, is out of beer, this is called out of stock. We can't sell our products if they are not available to the consumer. If we are out of stock, this gives the consumer the opportunity to purchase a competitor's product, and we may lose a valuable customer. Restock the shelf with properly dated beer. Determine the cause of the out of stock, such as not having enough inventory in the account to restock the cooler or shelf, or possibly a credit or ordering issue. Discuss the issue with the distributor sales representative and the owner and or manager of the account, and determine a solution that keeps product on the shelf. This will ensure the consumer will not have to make a decision to possibly buy a competitor's product. Move dates should be considered when choosing a rotation schedule, since move dates, where legal, can be effectively used to channel and redistribute closely dated beer to high-volume, high-turnover accounts. All distributors should have a well-documented move policy as part of their total quality program. The move date policy includes the age of move date beer, how it will be handled, where it will be moved, whose responsibility it will be to monitor closely dated beer, who will pick up any out-of-code beer, and who will be responsible for the replacement of any out-of-code product. The regular rotation of beer is essential to our continued commitment to quality. By following proper rotation procedures, you will maintain the brewery fresh flavor of our products, reduce off-taste product, and maintain our quality advantage in the off-premise marketplace.